In this video, I will discuss the instructional side of the game Slimetrail. On the positive side, the students really love the game, and I assume it's because there is always action. By action, I mean after each move they will set up another counter, and the entire board is just changing with every move. On the negative side, at least in my opinion, is the cognitive learning is pretty limited with this game. And by that I mean that in many situations there are many moves that are is equally good, and at the same time there are only a few moves that are really deciding the game. And therefore my whole advice is to use it as more of a fun closing game after a session, or just use it as a motivational game between the easier and the harder games that are coming thereafter. The time frame is 5 to 10 minutes in my experience. The objective that we want the students to reach is first of all to formulate and pursue a long-term strategy. And the difference between a strategy and just regular, tactical, let's say, thinking, it's with tactics, it's concrete variations that you calculate until the end, and then you can win the game. Well, in this game, there is no tactical variation tree because you cannot calculate 60 moves ahead. Therefore, it's more important to play, let's say by intuition, but it's better to use a strategy, and the strategy might be just to build a wall, to not let your opponents pass, or to get as fast as possible to your own corner. It doesn't matter what is the best strategy, it's more like you can use a strategy and still do good in a game. At the same time, there will be some critical moments in the game, and these are the moments where you can just enclose your own snail, by its own slime, and there the player wins who does the last move. And this is the thing that will make the difference between a better player and a worse player, just to spot the possibilities and also to calculate it once they come up. The game was invented by Bill Taylor in the year 1992 on a different chessboard. You will have the link in the description. And the source is the 21 strategy games where the authors just adapted the game on the chessboard. Here we have a picture how it might look like in real life if you use it, and this is the rule set for the game. I'll skip briefly to the board and explain some of the, let's say, negative sides. So this is one of my complaints about this game, that the very first move are always looking like this, which is not a sign of a well thought game for this course. Still, it has some upsides, and I still used it with and I will still use it. Well, this is the first kind of move set in each and every game usually, and once it's done, then the players start thinking again and the game continues. But you cannot avoid it and be ready to just encounter these same exact moves in each and every game. What we need to take care of are the tactical possibilities. So, for example, this is a game that I took from two students who are playing it, and here it was the green side's to move, but it doesn't matter whose to move it was, and he just moved his snail towards the top. Obviously, if you would just move it to the corner, then you win the game, but it was just an example that you need to think about to understand the rules, and the player playing for green did not. So, going back to the PowerPoint, this is the crucial insights that I want to share with you. So, the core goal that we want the students to have is to create a strategy. And sometimes they also have to realize that the direct path doesn't need to be always the best. And for that you need, at best to calculate in certain situations and think a few moves ahead. And the other important thing is the tactical awareness, and this happens in each situation where you can just trap the snail by its slime, and then you have to check or just count the squares. Actually, don't tell them that they just need to count the squares, which is usually the most simple way, but so they think more about the game, let them just think ahead as much as they can. So if the possibility arrives where you can really trap the snail, then you should calculate it, and if you win, then you should do it. So this is what makes the game useful. And the thing that we want really to avoid is that they just simply start playing without any thinking. That was, for example, again, this position where just the green player started to, play any random moves just for the fun of the game instead of really, using the rule set to win the game. So another practical observation that I want to share with you is I used it in a course of 10 to 12 students in the elementary school where I did this, and it was highly motivational for the children, and the most useful benefit from a social point of view that there was a high luck factor. And by that I mean that usually there are the best players who can understand and think ahead of others, and if it's so, then they always the best players always top 3 in the end. In this game it changes completely, and almost everybody can win the game, and therefore even the worst player has a chance to beat the best player. And for the weaker players it's actually a really high motivation to try to do something. Obviously that's usually not the best thing about the game, that is highly luck based, but for our course if we use it just as a bridge game and not too much focus, it can be a good side. At the same time, this trapped snail rule is really important for the chessboard version. In the original version it didn't need to be existing, but it had just a different board. Again, if you want to read about it, check the link in the description. And the other sad thing about the game, but we have to cope with it, is that in the beginning the players just moving the same moves over and over again. So to summarize, my idea for the game is to use it for enjoyment, for motivation, and to use it as a bridge for the more complicated games, that the children get familiar with using a strategy and also of using and seeing the whole board and not being scared of it. So for example, as negative example, if they would maybe go to the big board with big pieces, they just focus on a small part of the board instead of the whole board. And with this as approach, we get them used to be playing with the whole board, with the whole pieces, and not be afraid of it. That's the main advantage, but after maybe 1 hour of exercises with this game, I would advise just to go further and not focus much more than this on this game, Slimetrail.